Same question, different relationship. Why does it always end up being someone like this? You feel everything. Other people's pain lands in your chest like it's your own. And somehow that sensitivity keeps leading you into the same kind of relationship, over and over. It isn't bad luck. There's a specific psychological reason empaths are targeted this consistently, and today we're breaking down exactly how it works. Let's start with why empaths specifically become such a reliable target in the first place. Psychologists sometimes call it narcissistic supply, a steady, dependable source of attention and validation. An empath doesn't give attention once. They give it consistently. They forgive quickly. They keep trying to understand. That consistency is rare, and rarity to the right kind of person looks like something worth securing. Researcher Dr. Bessel van der Kolk has written extensively about how the nervous system responds to relational threat. And an empath's nervous system stays engaged longer than most. So this isn't random. It's closer to a pattern match, a specific personality type consistently drawn toward a specific supply of emotional resource. Now let's talk about the word covert, because this is where most confusion begins. Overt narcissism is loud, grandiose, easy to spot, the person who dominates every room and needs to be the center of attention. Covert narcissism is quiet. It can look like shyness, sensitivity, even humility, which is exactly why it's so much harder to identify. A covert narcissist might quietly play the victim, use subtle guilt, or carry a persistent sense that the world owes them more than it gives. The core trait, a deep need for validation and a real difficulty with genuine empathy for others, is the same as overt narcissism. Only the delivery changes. Now, the empath's other common point of confusion, the dark empath, a different profile entirely. A dark empath genuinely has empathy. They can accurately read what someone else is feeling, but they sometimes use that accurate read strategically. A covert narcissist, by contrast, struggles with real empathy. They often mimic emotional understanding rather than genuinely perceiving it. That's the core difference. A dark empath feels accurately and chooses to use it. A covert narcissist doesn't feel accurately and performs instead. Both patterns can be difficult to be close to. But confusing one for the other means missing what's actually happening. Now let's look at what actually happens inside a relationship with a covert narcissist, because the pattern, once you see it, is strikingly consistent. Stage 1, idealization. Everything moves fast. You feel more seen and more understood than you've felt with anyone before. That intensity is often intentional, built to create attachment quickly before you've had time to evaluate calmly. Stage 2, devaluation. Slowly, the warmth cools. Small criticisms creep in. You start adjusting yourself to get back to how things felt at the start. This stage is disorienting specifically because it's gradual. By the time you notice the shift, you're already adjusting your own behavior to compensate. Stage 3, discard. Sudden withdrawal, often at the exact moment you start setting a boundary or asking for accountability. Stage 4, hoovering. Just when you start to heal, they return. An apology, a small crisis, a sudden reminder of the good early days. The term comes from the vacuum brand, because the pullback in can feel exactly like suction, hard to resist even when you know better. This cycle can repeat for months, sometimes years. And each time, the idealization phase gets a little shorter and the devaluation a little faster. So here's the question people ask most. If the pattern is this clear, why does the empath stay? The honest answer isn't weakness, it's neuroscience, specifically something called trauma bonding. Psychiatrist Dr. Patrick Carnes, who first mapped trauma bonding in depth, describes it as a bond formed when danger and comfort come from the same source. Trauma bonding happens when a relationship alternates between intense reward and intense pain, the same pattern that makes a slot machine so hard to walk away from. Psychologist Dr. Sue Johnson, known for her work on attachment bonds, notes that unpredictable connection can create even stronger emotional pull than steady, reliable connection. So staying isn't about being naive. It's your brain's reward system responding exactly the way reward systems are built to respond. Understanding this doesn't excuse the pattern, but it does remove the shame that so often keeps people stuck even longer. So how does someone actually start stepping away from this cycle? Let's walk through 3 real practical starting points. Step 1, no contact where possible. This isn't about punishment, it's about removing the unpredictable trigger that keeps the trauma bond active. When full no contact isn't possible, like with a co-parent or family member, the alternative is gray rock, becoming deliberately calm, neutral, and low reaction. Gray rock works because it removes the emotional reaction that a covert narcissistic dynamic often depends on to stay engaged. Step 2. Rebuild boundaries slowly, starting with low-stakes situations, practicing a small no before you need to say a big one. Boundaries aren't walls. They're just clearly stated limits. And for someone recovering from this pattern, even small ones can feel unfamiliar at first. Step 3. Expect the hoover and decide your response in advance while you're calm, because the pull often does come back. Having that plan already written down makes it far easier to hold steady in the moment the pull feels strongest. One more important note. This video describes patterns, not diagnoses. It shouldn't be used to label a specific person in your life with certainty. If you're in a relationship that feels like this cycle, the most reliable next step is speaking with a licensed therapist who can look at your specific situation directly. So back to the question we started with. You're not weak for feeling everything, and you're not broken for staying as long as you did. You weren't unlucky. You were targeted. And now that you understand the pattern, you're already harder to target the same way again. If this helped you make sense of a pattern in your own life, tell us in the comments which stage hit closest to home. Subscribe for more psychology breakdowns every week. Understanding the pattern is how you stop repeating it.